Hello and welcome back. My name is Erin L. Ferguson, and this is my video series about creating the art for a 2D video game. And today's video is coming to you a little late this Friday. Not that I ever get my videos out in like a super timely manner, like ever, but today's video is a little later than normal because I've had a fairly busy day, and this is kind of irrelevant, but like earlier today I was really frustrated with something. And so I just went into the kitchen and ate raw cookie dough, like by the spoonful, and I am definitely suffering the effects of that. That was not a smart choice. You really shouldn't eat your feelings. But yeah, I am feeling that now. My stomach does not feel good. At the moment, though, it seemed like a good idea, and I would do it again. I would absolutely do it again because I love raw cookie dough, unfortunately. So anyway, what am I working on today? Well, actually today's video is a bit of a hodgepodge because I just couldn't decide what I wanted to feature in today's video, so I decided, why not? Why not feature two things? So, as you know, if you've been watching this series for a while, I've been working on buildings and assets to go in like a coastal seaside kingdom. And there were a couple of things that I needed, and they're like very different, almost completely unrelated, but I needed, first of all, like a beach cabana, like something really tropical looking, and then I also needed like a black market. And that is what I'm working on first, actually, is the black market. And when I say black market, I mean like sort of a secret shop where maybe, I'm thinking maybe it'll only be open at night. Like, it's only open at night, and the guy who runs it, he gets stuff in that you can't otherwise get, maybe at whatever point you are in the game that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, or at least he will get things that are rare or that are hard to get, and I'm wondering if maybe the items wouldn't even be, they might even be random, what he gets. It could be really rare stuff, it could be more common stuff, but like every night maybe he has just a different selection of things. So if you're looking for something specific, you might have to, come back and check repeatedly. But anyway, I wanted to create a shop where where he could sell his stuff. But the thing is if it's like a black market shop, I mean, they are selling black market goods, you can't have a big sign on the door that says this is the black market. I mean, it's illegal goods. So that was kind of a fun challenge because I had to figure out how to make it look like a black market shop without advertising this is the black market. That just makes good sense, right? And I actually got to draw on life experience, like real life experience, a bit to design this place, which was fun. But like back when my husband was working on his master's degree and I was done with school, our first apartment was in a fairly populated, busy sort of area. And we also only had one car, and he would often take it with him when he would go to school. And so when I wanted to go, like, say, to my favorite, like, art supply store, I would just walk there. It was, just a short walk from our apartment. And when I would make that walk, I would always pass this shop. It was like a antique, like, coin collectors type shop, I believe. But every time I walked by it, and I wish I had actually gone in, but every time I walked by it, I was super intrigued by it because, for one thing, it was one of these shops where you can't just walk in the door. Like, you had to be buzzed in. You had to, ring the doorbell and they would buzz you in. And I remember there was these like really fine filigree bars on the window. And that's kind of was one of the inspirations I took for this place, as I thought, well, maybe there would be these really fine bars on the window. I mean, I assume whatever was in that shop must have been of some value because they seemed to have the place locked down pretty tight. But there was, there was bars on the window, but there was also like a screen door that had like matching sort of fine filigree bars on it. So I took that concept, I took that memory, and I applied it here to our little black market shop. And the other thing I also added was a little like speakeasy peephole there on the front of the door, because I thought, well, when somebody comes to this door, Iago, that's the name of our guy who's going to run this shop, he's going to want to be able to like look out and see who's there and make sure it isn't, law enforcement or something. So I went ahead and I added that to the front door there. But I still felt like I needed some way to advertise to the player that this was a shop as opposed to just like a house. And so I put a little sign, just like a little paper sign there dangling from the window, that it's just like a pointing hand that points at the door. So it's just like a subtle nod, basically just saying, go in here, enter here. I just thought that was a nice touch to kind of give you a nudge to check the place out, without advertising what was actually in there. There's also another door there off to the side, because I felt like Iago would probably live like on the premises, because I imagine he would want to be fairly close to his shop, and I also liked the idea of him sort of living in this back room almost. It just sort of matches, like, I guess it really kind of matches his line of work. It just feels a little bit shady, a bit dirty, with him living in like this back storage area, really. And so I added a second door there off to the side, which will lead to his private apartment, as it were. And then at night, he emerges from his dark little cave and opens up the shop for you and for anybody else who wants to come and buy contraband goods. And actually, I think it would be super funny if periodically, if you're visiting this place a lot and you're coming at night, that you might run into other NPCs who are shopping there at night too, and things get just like super awkward super quick, kind of like if you went into an adult video store and like ran into somebody you knew, and you'd both like feel really awkward about being seen there and feel like you have to make some excuse for why you're there. I think that would be really funny, running into other characters and then being like, oh, I'm just getting something for a friend, And it's like, oh yeah, we all are. We're all just getting things for our friends. Anyway, I think that could add just a little element of humor. The thing is, I'm trying to figure out which character would you least suspect to find at night in the black market shop? Like, who is the most innocent character? Maybe, I'm thinking about it now, it might be Merryweather, who is, so I drew the Admiral's Mansion in an episode recently, and I think his wife, being like this super sweet matronly woman, it would be actually really funny to run into her here occasionally, buying who knows what. Maybe leave that to your imagination, but I think it would be really funny if she was here sometimes. And it's just left to the player to wonder what exactly she's into. And it just occurred to me actually that potentially this shop could have some sort of a front, like something innocuous that they pretend to sell, like, potted plants or something like that. And you have to say, the password or whatever, and then Iago would take you into a back room where he has all of his real merchandise or something like that. Like, there's lots of possibilities here. I'm pretty excited to eventually we'll nail down exactly what we want to do with all of these places, but that would be kind of fun too, as if to the untrained eye, it looked like a totally innocent sort of shop selling innocent sort of things. But if you talk to enough people and get the latest word on the street, you can figure out what's actually going on there. But anyway, so that is Iago's shop. But the law-abiding shop that is here in the Coastal Kingdom. So we have a tackle shop, but we also have like a little outdoor market, and that is run by Pearl. And she's here on the screen right now, and she is a very sunshiny sort of character. I imagine a little bit earthy. She's got her wraparound skirt, barefoot. I think she's a little bit of like a hippie at heart. And she runs our outdoor market, and there they sell things like seashells, pearls, other like local sort of goods. And I wanted her house to be a little bit different than most of the other buildings in the Coastal Kingdom, most of the other buildings in the Coastal Kingdom, they have this sort of aesthetic about them, like maybe they were made out of like spare ship parts. But I wanted her house to have this very tribal sort of feel, like very tropical, sort of like this cabana or like a vacation hut sort of, because I wanted her place to sort of appeal almost in a touristy sort of way because of the stuff she sells. So outside of her hut, she'll have her little her outdoor market, which I've already designed, and she, of course, like I mentioned before, she'll be selling things like seashells and pearls and things, and I think fish and stuff like that too. But a lot of the stuff I think that she'll be selling would appeal to like tourists, you know, travelers, people who'd be passing through who would want, you know, a unique sort of item. And so I wanted her house to sort of reflect that as well, just be almost a tourist attraction in and of itself. So it's got a bit of that quality. Like I remember when my husband and I were in Florida, we went and did the whole, you know, Disney thing and everything for our first anniversary after the year after we were married, and just like driving through Florida, you know, how many buildings there. You know, you drive by this building and it's got like a giant mermaid like on the facade and or a giant sand castle, and I mean it's all just, and when you go inside, I mean they're selling like t-shirts, you know, it's nothing that you couldn't find at any other touristy type shop, but they are definitely appealing to the tourists, you know, that come through to go to, you know, Disney and Universal Studios and all of those other places. And I kind of thought this is sort of the equivalent of that. Her house has a very different sort of flair from the other, you know, buildings, and attracts attention that way. And so there you have it. Those are the finished buildings right there. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this week's episode. Again, I'm sorry it's coming to you rather late, but it's still Friday, so I still maintain that I have kept my schedule. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and of course I will be back next Friday with another video. And so until then, enjoy the rest of your week.